when this person was all alone in bed, Huh? Huh? Uh, 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 huh? Excuse me? He? He? What do you mean, he? A guy? In my cute girls doing music things show? What? What? He? What do you mean, he? Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I am MrFonrath, and today we will be going through the upcoming Winter 2026 anime list season. I do this every single season. I am a little late on this one, but it is what it is. Alright, so this is how it's going to work. I'm going to look at the, the anime picture, the promotional art, and I will give my first impressions on whether or not I think it's worth watching. I am not always correct, I will say that. I am not always correct, but most of the time I am correct. There's a reason why I call myself the self-proclaimed arbiter of anime. Now, before we get started, a couple of things I want to note. I have seen the first episode, or maybe even the first 2 episodes of a couple of these shows. Once we get to them, I will point that out. Secondly, if this is your first time here, know that I am a serious anime enjoyer. I prefer when a show takes itself seriously. I'm not really into anime comedy, of which there seems to be a lot of these days. Basically, yeah, we're gonna look at the picture. If it's interesting enough and has potential, we will read the description and kind of decide based on that whether or not a show is worth watching. As well as the tags. The tags will be very important because there are 5 that I am not particularly a fan of. Those 5 tags are high school, romance, ecchi, harem, and comedy. I've come to learn that if any show that has any 2 of those 5, it's probably going to be shit. Let's be honest, it's gonna be shit. It's still possible for them to be decent, but most of the time it's gonna be shit, right? So if we see any 2 of those 5 in any show and, the picture, the promotional art is kind of like, we'll just immediately skip it for time. I did quickly kind of scroll through this, and let's just say it's looking to be a pretty banger season compared to the last couple of seasons we've had. Let's just say there's quite a few here that's definitely worth watching. With all that said, let's just get right into it, shall we? First up, we have Jujutsu Kaisen, the 3rd season, a show I have not watched. I remember when it first started coming out, the first season, people were like, oh my god, it's so great, oh my god. I watched I think the maybe first episode or 2, and let's just say when the main character's motivation turned out to be, oh, my grandfather said I should be fighting for the innocent, and that's my motivation, I immediately just dropped it. I could not take it seriously. Maybe there's more to it, who knows? Maybe at some point I will watch it, who knows? But for now, I have not watched it. It is what it is. If you like the show, I'm sure you'll like the 3rd season. Great. Moving on. Now this is where the real fun begins. So no Frieren. Frieren, 2nd season. Yes, obviously, this is worth watching. Not even a question. Need I say more? Now, those of you who have been around my channel for a while, I would like to ask you if you'd like me to react to this, actually. I did not react to the 1st season, mainly because at the time, I didn't really think about it until I was like halfway through the show, so, But now I haven't seen the 2nd season yet. I haven't seen the 1st episode or anything like that, so, I'm considering it. Probably will, to be honest. But yeah, obviously worth watching, not even a question. Probably the best thing in this list. Let's be honest here. Moving on, another good one. Jigokuraku, which is, I think English is like Hell's Paradise or something. Actually, once I saw that this was getting its 2nd season, I was like, huh. That was kind of a good anime. I remember watching that. So I just kind of went and binged a rewatch the other day in a couple hours. If it's as good as the 1st season, definitely worth watching. There's definitely some good stuff there. If you notice the two good shows that I immediately say are worth watching, right? If you notice the pictures, right? No one's smiling. No one's smiling. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Very important. We'll get to that. But no, notice no one's smiling. Everyone's I mean, except for this guy, but this guy's kind of crazy, right? But point is, no one's really smiling. That's because these shows take themselves seriously, right? Oh wow, another show that takes itself seriously, most likely. I have not seen this, but I have seen, I think, people talking about it on Twitter, I believe. I don't actually visit Twitter that often, but I have seen people mentioning this show, which is, I don't know what the English title is, but apparently it has like really good animation or something, and there's like something to it, so let's read it. In a world where heroism is a punishment, that's new. I don't even understand how that makes any sense, but okay. Xylophorbates, a condemned goddess killer, battles endless hordes of monstrous abominations as part of Penal Hero Unit 9004. Death is no escape, only a cycle of resurrection and relentless combat. But when Silo encounters a new mysterious goddess, their unlikely alliance sparks a rebellion that could shatter the chains of eternal punishment. This could be interesting. Immediately the moment I hear, death is no escape, only a cycle of resurrection, I'm reminded of Log Horizon, and I think maybe the truth is that they're in a video game or something. You know, like they can't die, they just respawn. And by that logic, you know, heroism being a punishment might be, I mean, if you're constantly in a world where heroes are forced to fight, I mean, why the fuck would you want that, right? I mean, I think normal people just want to live normal lives. They don't want to fight all the time. Now, this is cool and all. I think the premise is interesting. I think the picture is good. No one's smiling, being serious, right? But you know what I don't like here? It's this. Yeah. The reason I don't like this is because, I suppose this is a good time to explain this. If you think about most shows that aren't necessarily comedy, they are maybe action and thriller or something like that. Like, even take Marvel movies, right? Marvel movies are not advertised as comedy movies, right? They don't have the comedy tag. And yet, if you think about it, Marvel movies do have comedy. They, of course, have quips and, like, funny moments, right? So there's comedy in them. But they don't usually have, like, any kind of comedy tag. They're not advertised as comedy. And the same is true for anime. Most of these shows, Frieren, Jigokuraku, Hell's Paradise, like, these shows, they have comedy in them. They do. But notice, there's no comedy tag. No comedy tag. Why? There's comedy in them, but there's no comedy tag. Why? That's because when you do have a comedy tag, that means that there's so much comedy to the point where you cannot say that there's no comedy. You have to say that there's comedy. And so usually when a show has a comedy tag, that means about, at least when it comes to anime, about maybe 80%, maybe even to 90% of the show is comedy. And that's unfortunate. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe they just put this in because there's, you know, a little bit more comedy than normal, but God, I hope this show actually takes itself seriously and isn't full of cringe anime comedy. Now, next up we have, oh God. Okay, for this I'm gonna need to, okay. Oshinoko, 3rd season. So, me and the show, we have our history, right? I reacted to the first 2 seasons, and I will not be watching the 3rd. You know, a lot of people, when they watch some of my reaction videos, they, you know, see me reacting to a show or whatnot, and they see me criticize the show, and they immediately think that I don't like the show when I criticize something about it. And they tell me, oh, you know, maybe you should stop watching it because you clearly don't like it. You'll know when I don't like a show. Or you'll know when I think that the show is heavily making mistakes. You'll know. You'll know. Because I'll tell you. And I'm sorry, but unfortunately, I think personally, I don't know if I said as much in the actual reactions, but like, Oshinoko, they had their chance to win me over and they didn't. I'm sorry, the show was so... to put it simply, it's like they didn't know what they were trying to do. They were trying to do 2 different things. They were trying to be a show about idols and idol culture, and then at the same time be a show about revenge and getting revenge and killing and, stuff like that. It's like it doesn't, no, you can't do both. You just can't. You need to have a main storyline, and that sets the theme for the show, and for the story. You can't do both. You just can't. And they definitely didn't do it right. Not to mention the whole revenge plotline was so, honestly, I want to say not thought out. There were so many problems with it. Let's just say I'm not going to be continuing this. I'm probably, maybe on my own time, I might check it out and just kind of watch it, just, I don't know, on and off. I don't know. But most likely I'm not going to. Just gonna skip it. I don't care. It had 2 seasons to win me over. It did not. So, I mean, if you really liked the first 2 seasons, go ahead. I think I'm sure it's fine for you. But for me, it had a good idea, but it did not execute properly. And it really disappointed me. I don't know. It is what it is. Ultimately, it's still better quality than most of the other garbage that comes out these days. So, I mean, what was this again? Fire Force? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the first season. I mean, all I know about this show is that it's just a action battle anime, and something about it just never appealed to me. I like action as much as the next guy, but when I look at these 2 characters, for instance, I assume this guy is the main character, right? The protagonist. I look at him and I'm like, do I care about him? Can I see myself caring at all? Does this guy look like he would have complex emotions, complex storylines? No. Again, it's the 2nd season. Okay, we had one new show, but everything else has been a sequel so far. But again, if you like Fire Force, go ahead. I don't have an opinion. I haven't seen the first season. Moving on. Fate, Strange Fake. Jesus. They're definitely running out of names. I mean, it's Fate, again. I'm sure there's going to be action. I'm sure there's going to be, heroic experience servants. Probably some form of saber. Maybe I'll give it a episode or 2 just to see where it goes, what they're doing this time. But personally, I think the Fate franchise has kind of lost the plot. I do know that there's some sort of overarching storyline that Fate Go has, really pushed for, even though I haven't seen Fate Go. Or, I haven't played the game, rather. It's a mobile game, gacha game. But I have heard that there's, an overarching storyline. If they actually did some sort of, I don't know, crossover or something, where they actually took all these Fate shows and then they kind of made some sort of, overarching plotline that involved all of them somehow and pulled them all together into one big crossover or something. Sure, that would be great. But these days, it's like the problem with Fate in a lot of cases is that they just kind of use the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Holy Grail this, Holy Grail that, haha, the Holy Grail war this, the Holy Grail war that. It's just constantly the same thing. Battle Royale, that's what it is. And when I say a Battle Royale, I mean one of those video games, right? Where they just kind of, where are we dropping, boys? Are we dropping those tilted towers this time? They just kind of play the same game over and over and over. It's just, that's kind of what it feels like. Yeah, the things that happen in it are different, but it's just the same game over and over and over. It's gotten boring, I'm not gonna lie. Games like that end up getting boring. I'm sure it's gonna be action-packed. I don't know who's making A1 Picture. Ufotable though. That's unfortunate. But again, maybe it's good, maybe it's not, who knows. I guess we'll see. It's definitely worth checking out, I will say that. Most of the Fate shows, most of the Fate animes have been decent at worst. Most of them have been pretty good. You see, okay. So, comedy, romance, slice of life. Notice these. 1, 2. See, immediately I would say skip. and we're going to skip this. I don't know, maybe it's my age, maybe it's my experience with anime, because I have seen over 1,000 shows of anime over a long time. So maybe it is my experience, maybe it's me just being burned out. But these high school wannabe dramas that have a bunch of characters in them, they're just like, we see at least 2 of these shows every season. Literally last season we had like 2 or 3 of those. And I even made a note how similar they were to each other. And here we have another one. Where, you know, again, you have the 2 mains, and then we have a bunch of side characters, or like, you know, it's just, they keep, this is basically the same as Fate, just they don't share a name. 6 to 8 characters in high school with comedy and romance and slice of life. I mean, it's a skip. It's just a skip. Second season of whatever the fuck this is. Strangely, I have not seen this before. Like, the picture actually, the promotional art actually seems kind of decent. You know, a lot of hot girls, not gonna lie. That's kind of a bad sign in and of itself, but still, you know, I'm surprised. I don't think I've seen the first season, but this must have gone under my radar at some point. The first season, I mean. Who knows? But, you know, oof, that right there is an oof right there. Ecchi, ooh. The problem with the ecchi tag is that ecchi doesn't mean nudity, right? If a show was serious and they had nudity in it, and, you know, there was like, you know, serious shit going on, like, oh, you know, I don't know, fucking Goblin Slayer episode 1, right? That kind of thing. Then, you know, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. You know, they're taking themselves seriously. But the thing with ecchi is that ecchi doesn't mean nudity. It means, like, perversion. So, like, I guess you would say, like, extreme fan service in a perverted way. So, that's why ecchi is kind of like, ugh, oof. I don't know. Again, though, no comment, because I haven't seen the first season. I don't really have an opinion. Moving on. Action, drama, mystery, thriller. Interesting and good tags. But we look at the picture here, and what do we see? I assume she's the main character. In a maid outfit? Like, why though? You're losing me. You have a bunch of these maids, I guess. Also, the promotional art is very similar to what we had like last season with a lot of these types of shows, where they kind of have like each character has their own like colored background and stuff like that. Ooh, it's like, ooh, maybe it's just a bad promotional art. I don't know, but you know, the outfits, the idea of like maids and stuff, it's not giving me a thriller, mystery, drama vibe. And action. You're trying to do action, drama, mystery, thriller with maids, which immediately makes it a lot harder to take seriously when you have all your characters in maid uniforms. You know, you see what I'm putting down here? If you want to tell a story of like, at just 17, Yuki is a professional death game player, whatever the fuck that means. She survived enough rounds to know that survival is calculation, not luck, true, and that failure is final. For most players, the games are a nightmare with no escape. For Yuki, they're simply business, yet in a world where rooms turn into graves, and every choice could be her last, even experience offers no protection. Great! Sounds interesting. And then I see, they're in maid uniforms. Why, though? Oh, because the show would be too serious otherwise. We need to have our characters in maid uniforms to make them look cute and sell merch. We need money. We don't think the show will do well if they're not in cute maid uniforms. Jesus Christ. Just tell a serious story. You have action, drama, mystery, thriller. You don't need the maid uniforms. You just don't. Let me just check this real quick. Okay, so watching the PV, it's alright. It's pretty, and there's some pretty interesting mystery going on, but I can only hope that they very quickly explain why the fuck they're all in maid uniforms. And the fact that they're in maid uniforms and all of them are girls makes me also question, well, why aren't there any guys, right? Hopefully that's also explained. The immediate questions that need to be explained very quickly in the show. Or at least, if they wake up in this mansion or whatever and they have to survive the death game. If they don't know the answer, hopefully they at least ask the question. That's the most important part. I feel like this is worth at least a first episode. It's kind of hard to tell, to be honest. This could be good. It could be very good. Or it could be very bad. Like, very bad. So I guess we'll see. First episode or two, that's about it. Moving on. Immediately, just looking at the picture, I'm already like, something about this just doesn't look right. It doesn't look good. Oof. Something about this is just like, oof, right? Now, the second season of My Hero Academia Illegals, the spin-off, yeah. I haven't seen the first season, and I'm gonna skip it. I'm not really interested. If you like the first season, maybe that's good for you, I guess. Go right ahead. Second season right there. I have no opinion. I haven't seen the first season. Trigun, Stargaze. I think a sequel season to Trigun Stampede. I have not seen Trigun, or maybe I have seen Trigun. I think I saw a little bit of it way, way, way back in the past. Like, holy shit, probably like fucking 15 years ago. But yeah, I probably am not going to watch this. If this is like, if there's like a Trigun Stampede, like newer season, like a remake thing that I missed, then maybe I would check that out. But if this is just a sequel season to the older show, then I'm probably gonna skip it because I would need to watch the entirety of the first, the first one. So like, for me, it's a skip. If you've been keeping up with this Trigun stuff, then again, I'm sure this is decent. Moving on, we have, well, we have romance and comedy. So, and we have reincarnation. So let's be honest, it's isekai trash, right? We have Kirito motherfucking looking ass. Oh boy. And bear in mind, I like the idea of reincarnation. I like the idea of isekai. I do. I like the idea of a modern day person being transported to a fantasy world and then, applying their knowledge from the modern day to, get an advantage in this fantasy world. I like that idea. But most of these shows, they don't actually use that. Instead, they just have a reincarnated person from the modern day into a fantasy world and then give them OP powers and then completely just ignore the fact that they've come from the modern day and they just kind of forget that that was a thing. Most of them just kind of suck. They have no idea what they're doing. Reincarnated as a mid-tier demon, blah, 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 across the hero's party, then the blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, that's a skip, yep. We have more, comedy romance. Romance? Strange. Is this Yuri? Huh, interesting. You see, there is one exception to the, 2 out of 5 rule that I have, which is Yuri. Yuri is the one exception. If there's Yuri, then I don't care if it's comedy, I don't care if it's romance, high school, whatever the fuck. Well, maybe I care if it's high school. That's kind of like, I don't really want to see fucking little teenagers doing romance. That's kind of cringe. But most of the time, I don't care if it's comedy or romance, if it's Yuri. Because Yuri is best. Yuri is great. But I would imagine this is another one of those music band type shows that we've had quite a few of. When this person was all alone in bed, Huh? Huh? Excuse me? He? He? What do you mean, he? A guy in my cute girls doing music things show? What? What? He? What do you mean, he? Blah, 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 blah. One day she simply stopped broadcasting, but blah, blah, blah. So the guy who's the main character, who's not in the fucking picture, by the way, is a creeper, stalker. Okay, there's something he wants to tell her. I wonder what. He doesn't know what she looks like or even what her real name is, but he managed to get some leads. In other words, he's a massive stalker who tries to find out a musician's real name and where they live. That's holy fucking stalking, Jesus. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't care. The moment you said nope. And the fact that you don't have your main character, because let's be honest, the guy is the main character here. The fact that you don't have him in the fucking promotional art, are you kidding me? What? I hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it when these people do this. When the promotional art has like all the girls or whatever at the very front and center, right? Making you think that the girl is the main character, or the two girls on at the front are the two main characters. Oh, and then if you look very carefully, in like 2 pixels at the back there's like a main guy. There's the guy, right? And he ends up being the fucking main character of the show. I'm sorry, holy fucking false advertising. Jesus. So no, this is a skip. The moment you said the moment you bring in some random guy that isn't even on the fucking promotional art, I'm sorry, I've lost interest. Drama slice of life. Reclusive novelist Makio has always preferred the company of books, but when her sister and brother-in-law pass away, Makio unexpectedly becomes the guardian of her 15-year-old niece. As they navigate grief, clashing personalities, and the challenges of living together, the two slowly open their hearts to each other, blah, blah, blah. Okay, interesting. If there's one type of slice of life that I am kind of interested in, is the type that actually try to, like, really work with the characters and, like, actually kind of tell a story and have good writing. And considering that there's no comedy tag, it's just drama and slice of life, and it's about like grief and stuff. Maybe. This might be interesting. I would give it an episode or 2, just to see. Hard to say otherwise. Is this yaoi? Oh, I guess not. But it's cringe. It's like when I see this, I'm just like, ay. And let's talk about this real quick as well. You look at this picture, right? If I were to ask you, which of these characters, which one of these 2 characters do you think is the main character? You know, like, there's always the main character. There's always the protagonist. The one that we kind of see the story through, right? Which one of these do you think it is? Which one? I would bet you, if you have decent experience in anime, and you're watching this, and you're answering this question right now, I will bet you that you're saying, this person, this one right here is the main character. 100%. And you would be right. I would also say that this one is 100% the main character. Because for some reason, anime has this problem of never having a confident and, cool main guy as the protagonist. They for some reason, they cannot do that. So whenever you do have a confident guy in the story, like this, as you can see, he's very confident. He's kind of like, lifting the chin and whatnot, right? That's a very confident thing to do. And he's like clearly like the bad boy kind of, cool looking guy, right? Anime would never have this guy as a protagonist. I don't know why, but they just never do. And so that's why I can immediately deduce that, considering she is in fact a girl, which means this one is a girl most likely, blah 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 blah, to her surprise, blah blah blah. When her newfound friend is a prince himself, why does the guy always need to be a fucking prince? I don't, that's, just skip. Golden Kamuy, surprisingly, 5th and final season of Golden Kamuy. Golden Kamuy is actually on my list. I've been thinking of maybe potentially watching this and, reacting to it on my channel, but for now, I don't have any opinion because I haven't seen it. Darwin Jihen. Charlie's a half-human, half-chimpanzee hybrid known as Human Z. Raised by his adoptive parents, Charlie's 15, starting high school, meets Lucy, blah blah. This just seems weird. This feels just really weird. This is giving me the vibe of, fuck, what was the name of that show? Something Taxi. Something Taxi. Basically the show where you had like a bunch of like anthropomorphic animal people living in everyday life in the modern world, and there was like a taxi driver or something. And from what I heard, it told like decently written stories about the characters or whatever. But the problem with that for me is like I can't take it seriously like that. You know, I just can't take it seriously. When you have like weird looking characters and then you try to tell a serious story with them, something about it, like, I just can't take it seriously. I think that's probably why I've never seen, what was the name of that show as well? Beastars. That's why I've never seen Beastars either, because it's like I have no problem with anthropomorphic characters per se, but I always have this kind of barrier that I have to cross to get into shows like that. And if I'm not really super interested in the show overall before I get into it, that barrier just prevents me from starting the show. That's why I haven't seen Beastars. That's why I haven't seen the, Taxi show. It's like, I don't know. I think for me, if a show is trying to be serious, but their art style and their character designs and whatnot are kind of stupid looking, or they're not like taking the art style seriously, they're not like taking the theme seriously, I immediately get a bad vibe from it. There was the fucking Axel world as well. Every other characters are normal, and then the main character is drawn like a pig, like a human pig or something. And it's like, but why? Why are you drawing your main character like that? Why? That's why I didn't watch that show either. If you're trying to tell a serious story with serious writing, don't make your main character seem fucking weird, generally. Just, I'm probably gonna skip this. I'm just kind of like, about this. If doesn't speak to me at all. Ugh, Jesus Christ. 35-year-old has spent his life playing every single MMORPG he can get his hands on. Blah, blah, blah. He tries out blah, blah, blah. Sex summoner finds himself transported into a world. Blah, blah, skip. So, comedy, romance, okay. So, on the picture we have girl, 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 girl. All of them are girls. There is no main guy, okay? Everyone's girls here, right? So if there's romance, it has to be Yuri, because all the characters are girls, right? Alright, I want to learn to love myself, blah blah blah. From a gloomy social awkward girl, reinvented herself for high school, successfully made her debut. Fucking high school. Why don't they have high school tag here? That would be 3 out of 5 as well, Jesus. Of course it has to be high school. She even managed to join the top-tier popular group, only to be confessed to by 2 of its brightest stars, blah blah. One is the school's ultimate prince, the other the beloved angel of campus. There's no way, blah blah blah. I mean, maybe, assuming they mean, because when they say prince, they don't always mean a man. When they say prince, they usually mean like princely in Japanese anime, right? So this could still be a girl. It could be one of these, this princely woman, this princely girl here. Who knows? So it could be like 2 girls in love with this main girl, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so there's Yuri. That's good. The one saving grace. This doesn't seem that serious necessarily, but there might be Yuri in it, so maybe I would give it an episode just to see what they're doing with it. Unfortunately, even some of the Yuri shows might fall flat on their face when they have nothing else going for them. But I guess we'll see. I will give it 1 episode. That's it. That is my absolute limit. Okay, next up we have Eris no Seihai. Now, I have seen the first 2 episodes of this show. The first episode was very good. It, it could have been better, of course, but it was still decent. And so far, it seems to be interesting. At least interesting enough to where I will continue with it. Now, one thing that I don't like is this right here. Oof. You see, the main story of the show doesn't have anything to do with romance. After I saw the second episode, see this guy here? Right? So this guy was introduced, and so far he's fine, right? Like there hasn't been any weird romance going on, but I have a feeling like they're going to push this romance, and it's gonna be super extreme cringe. Holy fuck. Now if it was a romance between these two, that'd be great, but it's not going to be. It's going to be a romance between these two, which is gonna be extremely cringe because I know I'm making it sound like straight romances are cringe, and they are, but their personalities are just like polar opposites, and it's just the guy as well is just the generic stoic guy who is like a prince basically, and it's like Jesus Christ, try something original. Like if these two, for instance, got together, and yes, I'm a big supporter of Yuri if that wasn't obvious, but this would be so much more interesting because in the show, basically, long story short, it's this woman got executed and essentially became a ghost that only she can see. And in exchange for helping her, she had to agree to help the mature lady find revenge for her death, essentially, and figure out who managed to, set things in motion for her execution. And now these two are kind of working together to infiltrate and investigate the corrupt dark side of the higher class, the upper class, right? And it's very interesting. And it would be so interesting if, there was a romance blooming between these two, because like I've always thought the idea of something like a person falling in love with like a spirit or ghost would be interesting, because you have the eventual point is going to come where the spirit or ghost or whatever is going to move on to some degree, at least. The hopeless romance of like you can never technically be together because one is a ghost, the other is still alive, basically just would be so much more interesting. But obviously I don't think they're gonna do that, so for now it's interesting as long as they don't do romance. But considering this is here, I guess we'll see. I'm still gonna continue with it, so it's half decent, only half decent. Moving on, we have whatever the fuck this is, comedy romance. Oof. I think I saw like the English translation title, which was like something about my invisible boyfriend or something. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just not interested in this. Basically, a human female, of course, with a guy who turns invisible, and there's a quiet love. It's like, I don't know. I think stories that just do romance for the sake of romance, they're just not interesting anymore. Maybe they used to back in the day, but I don't think it works anymore. I really don't. I think people are way past that. People are bored of that shit. Like, you can have romance, just you gotta have some sort of other plotline going on at the same time. I think romance shows, like, just in everyday life are just, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe for you, you still love those, but for me, it's boring. It's extremely boring. So moving on. For me, it's a skip. So this one, fucking hell, these fucking titles are so big that they cover the fucking picture. This one I have also seen the first 2 episodes of. It is mediocre, to say the least. We haven't gotten to the good bits yet, where, the ostracized hero finds his former party that threw him out and, shows how much more powerful they've become. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but so far it's kind of like, it's not the worst, but it's not exactly super interesting either. It's kind of like, if you're really interested in fantasy, I guess, you can kind of keep up with it, maybe, but like, it's kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, it's boring. It's quite boring. At least for now, they haven't gotten anywhere interesting yet. So if you're not really interested in fantasy slop, I would be like, skip. You know, you don't really need to. It being, as you can see up here, 64%, what is that, user score or whatever? Yeah, I can kind of see it. It's definitely like a 6 out of 10. Maybe no, actually 5 out of 10 from the first 2 episodes at least. Moving on, we have Dead Account. Always ready for a fight, action supernatural. Again, you look at this picture, right? First off, notice something. What have you noticed? Have you been paying attention? Have you been listening? If you take one look at this picture, tell me what I'm thinking immediately. I want you to tell me right now. You're watching this? I want you to say it out loud for everyone to hear. That's right. Everyone's fucking smiling, aren't they? This guy is smiling. This guy is smiling. This guy is smiling. This guy is smiling. Everyone's fucking smiling, bro. And obviously, you know, this guy has some sort of flame powers. It's a battle shonen battle anime. I'm gonna skip. I don't care. I'm just so tired. I'm so tired. Like 100% this is just gonna be a battle anime. Online streamer, by the way, is a troll making the worst of the worst boundary pushing flame bait content. Oh, seriously? They went Johnny Somali and they made a fucking Japanese version of that into an anime? Jesus Christ. But they're trying to make it seem like they're doing it for good reasons. He's a high school dropout. He's trying to pay for his sister's medical bills, blah, or even if all of humanity hates him, he doesn't care. Shut the fuck. It's cringing me out. It's heavily cringing me out. I haven't even seen the show, and it's giving me secondhand embarrassment already. I don't even want to know what this is, because, like, it's just the idea of a streamer going around in modern day, pranking and trolling people for views. Ugh, holy cringe. Moving on, we have whatever the fuck this is. Comedy, romance. For the past 2 years, cheerful, hardworking, has run a small laundry shop in the seaside hot springs town of Atami. As she goes about her quiet days, she finds herself drawn into the bittersweet, heartwarming stories of people around her. Now, okay, I mean, this sounds more like slice of life more than romance. I mean, it might be alright. I definitely prefer the shows that kind of try to have a character going through the bittersweet, heartwarming stories of people around them, rather than focusing on the romance. Because, like, the romance oftentimes is just cringe. You know, if it's like a character kind of, you know, talking to people and finding out their stories and maybe even experiencing some stories with these characters, you know, those stories can be pretty interesting and heartwarming, I guess you could say. As long as they don't focus on the romance or comedy. It can be there, but, you know, as long as it's not the priority. Maybe a 1 episode. Actually, I mean, for me, I'm probably gonna skip it because I already have a bunch of other things I need to check out, so it's kind of low on the priority list. If I happen to end up in a slice of life mood this season, I might give it an episode or 2. Isekai. Yike. Also, the fact that... See, I don't even need to read the description, right? I see romance, and then I see 2 men on the cover. What am I to think? What am I to think? I am not into yaoi. I will not watch yaoi. It is a skip for me if this is yaoi. If it's boys love, yeah, no, this is 100% yaoi, bro. Nope, skip. Say what you will, I'm just not interested. Do I even need to say anything about this? Oh, Jesus. Holy shit, everywhere I look, it gets worse. Okay, so, holy shit, this is like the easiest skip of my entire life. Number 1, you look at the promotional art, mostly everyone is smiling. Yeah, the guy is like, whatever, but let's be honest, pretty much everyone's smiling, right? It's pink. It's pink. Then I look down, I see childhood friend, love, comedy, ew, Love means romance. Comedy means comedy in anime comedy. Ew. So not only do you have smiles, pink, romance, comedy, then I see here immediately high school boy. Oh, holy fuck. Jesus Christ, calm the fuck down. How much do you want me to skip this? And then comedy and romance. It's like, oh my fucking god. This gotta be the easiest skip of my entire life. Moving on, we have champignon, yes, champignon no majoro. I have seen the first 2 episodes of this. It's alright. You know, if you're kind of interested in fairy tale, magical, slice of lifey stuff, this is for you. It is decent. It is interesting enough to where I would continue with it. I will say the second episode was kind of cringe because essentially you have this long-living witch who has lived for centuries falling in love at first sight, essentially, with some random guy. And it just, it was cringe. But they kind of resolved that storyline, I hope, in the second episode. So maybe it's more episodic, hopefully. But I guess we'll see. It's definitely worth checking out, though. I will say that. I really recommend you watch at least the first episode, maybe the second one as well. Definitely worth watching. Or at least checking out. Immediately I see, like, again, right? Which one? Once again, we're at the same situation again. I ask you, which one of these do you think is the main character? I would immediately say the girl, because once again, as I said earlier, they refuse to ever have an attractive, confident male as the protagonist. I don't know why. They just refuse to. So I immediately think that the main character is going to be the girl. On the day before her downfall, recalls that she's in an otome game. In other words, it's isekai, and the girl is the main character. Surprise, surprise. That's a skip for me. I'm just not interested. Okay, maybe at no, actually no, skip. Oh, it's even one of those, right? It's not, she's not the, she loves the main heartthrob, but she's not reincarnated as the heroine. She's reincarnated as the villainess. Oh, we definitely haven't seen that before. I'm still waiting for that show where the villainess, and not to bring up Yuri again, but like, I'm still waiting for that show where the villainess, where the main character, the villainess, gets together with the heroine, not the main guy. There is a show that kind of does this, but that's more of a harem, where there's no actual romance between any of them, right? It's just a bunch of characters liking the villainess. But I'm waiting for basically this show, but you know, the main character reincarnates as the villainess and gets together with a heroine. And it's a Yuri. Like, that's the show I'm waiting for. Medalist second season, didn't see the first season. I haven't seen the first season, so no opinion. No opinion. This one, interesting. But these two do not go together. So when you have comedy and you have horror, that means the comedy is 90% of the time and horror is 10% of the time, which then you can't take seriously because the show is constantly comedy. And 9 times out of 10 when they try, it's basically you have a comedy moment and then literally the next scene they have a horror moment and then literally the next scene they have a comedy moment again. And they don't know what they're doing. Very unlikely that this is any better. I am probably going to skip this unless it turns out that, you know, a lot of people start talking about it, saying how good the show is. Unless that happens, I'm not gonna bother. Adventure, fantasy, slice of life. Having spent his childhood in the slums, desperately sought out strength to survive, now enjoys a peaceful and carefree life. One day, during a quest, he ventured into a dungeon, finds a young girl being partially eaten by a weakest kind of monster, a slime. Having been abandoned by her parents, she had no place to go, entered the dungeon alone to stay alive. Okay, I mean, this could be a little, you know, kind of cute, heartwarming, potentially, depending on their personalities, or it could just be trash and cringe and very mediocre. I feel like I might give it 1 episode. It depends on the child, to be honest. The child either is a good character or is a cringe character that immediately warms up to the guy, and they immediately have a kind of a father-daughter relationship almost immediately in the first episode. Then it would be boring. And just kind of cringe, or like just kind of like I might give it a 1 episode watch. I don't know. Reborn in another world inside a dragon egg. He doesn't have so it's basically reincarnated as a small Pokemon. No, just skip. I don't even want to. I just know. Second season of something I haven't seen, so no opinion. Also a comedy. Yusha no Kuzu. Already I'm seeing some sort of weird shit going on. Mafia. 21st century Tokyo's mafia can turn into ether-enhanced demon lords, because of course they can. And braves hunt them down. Yashiro, the Grim Reaper, reluctantly takes a new apprentice named Aki, a high school girl, because of course, training to become a brave. He soon finds himself dragged into one troublesome case after another. The supernatural story of a scumbag master and his self-proclaimed apprentice. So it's self-proclaimed apprentice, so he didn't take a new apprentice. This would be interesting if I didn't see this immediately. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And I also, obviously, I see the face of the girl who's the apprentice, most likely. Let me actually, Okay, well, looking at the PV, it's actually better than I expected. I will say the animation is something to be desired, but I've never been one to care much about animation anyway. But at least the storyline seems to try to take itself seriously. So maybe it's better than I give it credit for. Maybe it's worth an episode or two. Maybe. That's a hard maybe right there. Blah 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 blah. Okay, this is yaoi bait and just kind of slice of life fantasy adventure cringe. Skip for me. Dark Moon in the seaside city of blah blah blah. Do 7 mysterious boys. Yaoi bait. Nope. I'm out of here. You see, and once again, you look at the promotional art here, right? Everyone's smiling. Yay! Happy. Everything is happy. Woo! Yay! And by the way, you would think, like, looking at this promotional art, right? You would think that the main character is this girl here, because she's at the front, right? Or maybe not at the very front, but she's the biggest one. Like, she's the first thing you see immediately. But in reality, you might not even see it. I mean, if you look closely, because the fucking name is in the way. But there's a guy here. That's the main guy. But this is a skip. Obviously, comedy, romance, ew. And it's like the guy is the teacher teaching students. Ugh. No, just skip. Vampire detective manipulates supernatural powers. Nobleman's daughter who loves vampires. Why does your main character look like this? Like it's like a kid wannabe Sherlock Holmes. Like, ugh. I don't understand why why they can't make their main characters normal looking, or like at least somewhat decently cool. Take a Lord of Mysteries, for instance, as a good example. The main character looks kind of normal, even handsome to some degree, right? He's not weird looking. He doesn't have some weird colored hair. He isn't extremely attractive or extremely ugly. He isn't a child. He isn't more attractive than every other character. He isn't less attractive than every other character. There's no like, he's just another character, just like everybody else. And when I look at this character right here, this protagonist, I assume, I think to myself, this is not attractive. This is like, and when I say attractive, I don't mean sexually. I mean like, just generally, right? Like, this is not what I want my protagonist, my main character in a story to look like.
私が元気じゃないとお父様
Skip. Yeah, we bait again. Second season. I haven't seen the first season. Again, romance, high school, I'm guessing, because uniforms and, you know, high school boys and girls doing boys and girl things. This is like a full-on fantasy something. I'm just gonna check the PV real quick. Okay, the story seems decent enough, but the 3D animation seems pretty bad. Like, I'm sorry, if your 3D animation isn't something along the lines of Land of the Lustrous, it's just not gonna be, it's not gonna be good. You know, it's gonna be kind of you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time. Probably a skip from me. Maybe the story's decent, but ooh, the 3D animation is really kind of mediocre, not gonna lie. To put it bluntly, it's shit. From what I saw in the PV, it's shit. It's just shit. It's trash. I'm not one of those people who don't like 3D animation. You know, I love Land of the Lustrous. I am currently watching Ling Cage, a Chinese show on like Bilibili, which is very good. Also 3D animated, but their 3D animation is much, much better than this, whatever this is. Not interested in this type of mecha, you know, Power Ranger stuff. That's a skip from me. Second season, I think I saw the first episode of this show in the first season. It wasn't interesting to me, so that's a skip for me. Part 2 was something I've never seen. Skip. Oh, definitely skip. Even more of a skip than the previous one. Card Fight Vanguard. Oh, skip. Oh. Now this is the best show. This right here is easily the best show, and I recommend everyone to watch this show right here. It's a short, yes, but holy shit is it good. Trust me on this. If you've never seen this before, I really, really recommend. Do not look at these tags. All you need to know is that it's good, okay? Trust me on this. Just go and watch the first episode. Trust me on this, okay? It's good. It's good. Just trust me on this, bro. Moving on, we have, I mean, these are kind of just shorts. They're kind of all shit, I would imagine. Leftovers. I still haven't seen this show. It's still on my list. Slowly but surely, maybe getting there eventually. No, I wasn't watching this. Wasn't watching this. Wasn't watching this. I considered this one actually, but again, I have a lot of other things to watch, and I gotta choose what I want to watch very carefully. Isekai, this is a slime isekai movie. Like, there's a couple of movies here that maybe I would check out if I had time, but a lot of these are kind of eh. This is another fantasy trash show. Oh, you know, main guy gets thrown out of the hero's party type of show. I have been keeping up with this, but I've been skipping through the episodes. You know, it's just hard to watch. These two both, I've been also kind of keeping up with because they're fantasy. Both of them are trash. Both of them are just, they're trash. They're fantasy trash. If you're interested in fantasy magic trash, like, this is for you, but it's trash. Isekai, cheat skill. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh yes, I've been watching this as well. This is also fantasy trash. It's just all the same fantasy trash. This one... Okay, interesting. This surprisingly seems kind of fun. I would give it an episode. Then again, it's episode 1 of 1, so I don't know. Maybe it's just a 1 episode thing. And the rest here are pretty much all... whatever. Skip, 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 and skip. And that, my friends, has been the winter 2026 anime season. Main things to look out for: Frieren, Hell's Paradise, I think that was the name. Maybe this thing. Maybe Fate. Maybe. Let's see. This as like a secondary trash show if you have time. And then a bunch of other trash. Oh yeah, and this one as well. This one is also something to look out for and kind of keep up with, potentially. And everything else is pretty much just like, if you have time, you can find some more trash here and there. That was the season. Definitely stronger, much stronger, with Frieren and Hell's Paradise here, and some of these other potential good shows, as well as for Jujutsu Kaisen fans, another season. So pretty strong season. Definitely some good shows to watch. And actually, while I was kind of setting this up, I accidentally checked the spring one and for a second, and let's just say spring is also loaded with some pretty decent shows. I'm not gonna lie. But that's for next time. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed going through the season of anime with me. Hopefully you have found something to watch based off of my opinions. My opinions, of course, are always right, and you should take my opinions very seriously. I shall be back next time with the next season of anime in the next season in springtime. Until then, ladies and gents, adieu.